Aston Villa have just slapped a staggering price tag on Morgan Rogers, and Fabrizio Romano has revealed exactly how Arsenal plan to use a creative approach to overcome those demands. Meanwhile, Paul Scholes has made a statement about an Arsenal-linked player that absolutely nobody saw coming, comparing him directly to Kylian Mbappé. But the warning he added to that comparison is something every Arsenal fan needs to hear. And finally, an Arsenal player who Mikel Arteta once described as phenomenal has now submitted a transfer request. If you want all the details on these massive stories as the transfer window reaches a critical stage, subscribe right now, turn on notifications, and let's get straight into it. Let's jump straight into the first story because Fabrizio Romano has just delivered the most significant Rodgers update yet. And the creative solution Arsenal are exploring to get this deal done could end up being one of the smartest pieces of transfer business this club has ever engineered. Romano was completely clear about where things stand. For Arsenal, the number one option remains Morgan Rogers. Aston Villa want to put a price of around $130 million to let Morgan Rogers leave this summer. Aston Villa are aware of Arsenal's interest and also aware of interest from other clubs, including Chelsea. But in this moment, Arsenal made very good progress on the player's side for some time. And so Arsenal keep pushing for Morgan Rogers. This depends on the price because Aston Villa want $130 million, but Arsenal hope to find a way to negotiate. Maybe with add-ons, maybe with a different structure. Arsenal hope to be creative in order to find a solution. £130 million. That would shatter the British transfer record. And Arsenal are right not to simply hand over that figure without exploring every possible alternative structure. Berta did not build Arsenal's title-winning squad by overpaying. He built it by being smarter than everyone else in the room. The creative route that makes the most sense here involves players rather than just cash. Unai Emery is reportedly an admirer of Leandro Trossard, and Villa have also been linked with Gabriel Martinelli. If Arsenal can package one or both of those outgoing players into the Rodgers deal, the cash component drops significantly, and suddenly a British record transfer becomes a highly structured, intelligent piece of business that benefits all three parties simultaneously. Trossard or Martinelli heading to Villa Park, Rodgers heading to the Emirates, and Arsenal freeing up substantial wages in the process. Declan Rice has already been working on Rodgers in the England camp. Romano has confirmed Arsenal have made excellent progress on the player's side. Chelsea are lurking, but Rodgers has made his preference clear. The player wants Arsenal. The deal structure is the only remaining obstacle. Berta is creative enough to find the solution. Get it done. So Gooners, would you be happy including Trossard or Martinelli in a swap deal to bring Rodgers to Arsenal? Or should the Gunners just pay the cash and move on? Drop your verdict in the comments right now. Now let's talk about Marcus Rashford, because Paul Scholes has just made a statement on The Good, the Bad and the Football podcast that is going to generate enormous debate, and the warning he attached to his own compliment says everything you need to know about whether Arsenal should genuinely pursue this deal. Scholes was asked directly about Rashford potentially joining Arsenal, and his response contained both the highest praise and the most pointed concern in the same breath. The only thing I'd worry about Marcus is his attitude, really. Now look at Arsenal. He's going to have to be part of a team. He's going to have to work his absolute backside off. When he left United, he didn't bother. We haven't seen loads of him at Barcelona, but he's done okay there. If he's prepared mentally to work up and down and do all the team stuff, the ability is ridiculous. We've seen little glimpses in England. He's probably our closest thing to Kylian Mbappé. England's closest thing to Kylian Mbappé, from Paul Scholes. On pure natural ability alone, that comparison is genuinely not outrageous. When Rashford is operating at his absolute ceiling, explosive pace, power, the ability to go past defenders at full speed and finish with either foot, the profile is legitimately frightening. There are very few players in England with that combination of physical tools and technical quality. But Scholes landed directly on the problem that has defined Rashford's career, and it is the same problem that should make Arsenal very, very cautious. Consistency, attitude, commitment to the team defensive work that Arteta demands from every single player in his system. Arsenal's title-winning culture was not built on individual brilliance alone. It was built on relentless collective effort, defensive discipline from the front, and players who buy into the system completely on their very worst days. Barcelona had the option to sign Rashford permanently for around £26 million this summer, and declined. That single decision speaks volumes. If a club that signed Anthony Gordon for significantly more money looked at Rashford at £26 million and said no, thank you, Arsenal at a much higher fee and wages should be asking very serious questions. The ability is there. The question is whether the Rashford who turns up every single match day is the Mbappé version or the disinterested version. For a club chasing the Champions League, that gamble is too great. So Gooners, Scholes says Rashford is England's closest thing to Mbappé. Do you think Arsenal should take the risk and sign him, or is the consistency question simply too big a concern for a club at this level? Let me know. Now let's round things off with a story that brings an end to one of the more bittersweet chapters of Arsenal's recent history, because according to Team Talk, Kepa Arrizabalaga has officially handed in a transfer request at Arsenal, and the goalkeeper situation it creates needs an immediate and intelligent response from Berta. The 31-year-old made just 12 appearances for Arsenal last season, with only one of those coming in the Premier League. David Raya was so dominant and so consistently brilliant that Arteta simply had no justification for rotating his number one. And for Kepa, a goalkeeper who still firmly believes he is capable of being a number one at the highest level, sitting on the bench for an entire season while collecting his wages was never going to be a long-term solution. Juventus and Napoli are now leading the race to sign him, and a departure looks genuinely inevitable. The transfer request itself carries a bittersweet quality that every Gooner will recognise. Arteta was unambiguous in his affection for Kepa. Even after the Carabao Cup final howlers against Manchester City, the manager publicly defended him. "I would do it again because he deserves to play this game. He has been phenomenal for us. Errors are part of football." That kind of loyalty from a manager is rare, and it speaks to the personality and professionalism Kepa brought to the dressing room every single day, even when the results on the pitch were not there. But now the focus must shift immediately to replacements, and the names on Berta's list reveal a pragmatic and cost-effective approach to solving the problem. Illan Meslier is the most interesting option, available on a free transfer after leaving Leeds United, and at 25 years old, the Frenchman represents exactly the kind of high-ceiling, low-cost addition that Berta excels at identifying. Jan Sommer and Matthew Ryan are also under consideration as more experienced alternatives who understand the backup role and its demands. At £5 million paid for Kepa, Arsenal always knew they were buying short-term security rather than a long-term solution. The fee was so low that even if a sale generates a modest profit, as Ben Jacobs suggested recently was possible, the entire episode represents outstanding financial management. The next backup goalkeeper needs to arrive quickly, needs to be comfortable in the number 2 role, and needs to bring the same dressing room quality that Kepa undeniably contributed. Meslier on a free looks like the smart play. Berta get it done quietly and efficiently. So Gooners, who do you want Arsenal to sign as David Raya's backup this summer? Meslier, Sommer, or is there someone else you think Berta should be targeting? Drop your picks in the comments. Alright Gooners, if you are not subscribed yet, hit that button right now. It is completely free and you will never miss a single Arsenal update for the rest of this transfer window and beyond. And I want to know, where are you watching from? Drop your city and your country in the comments right now. It genuinely blows my mind every single week, seeing how far this Arsenal family stretches across the world. A massive thank you from the bottom of my heart to every single one of you for watching, commenting, and making this community something truly special. You are the reason this channel exists, and I am grateful for every single one of you. And today, a huge shout out goes to all the Gooners up in Holloway and Finsbury Park, right on the doorstep of the Emirates, the heartbeat of Arsenal Football Club. You lot live and breathe this club every single day, and we see you. This one is for you. Until next time, Gooners. Come on, you Gunners.